Star Wars The Acolyte Episode 5 titled Night finally reveals the identity of the Master in one of the most tense episodes of Star Wars I've ever seen. And along with this big reveal, a new theme for him was also revealed in the music, though it's possible you never even knew it was there. This is Star Wars Music Analysis.
Do it.
The episode begins with another rendition of the Master's theme. Now that it's in the foreground more than it was at the end of last week's episode, I can hear it more clearly, and I'm adjusting what I said it was to this motif, moving up a minor third, then down by step before leaping a strange minor sixth. It's a perfect eerie motif for this Master and for the beginning of this dark episode as Osha wakes in the middle of chaos, and we're actually going to hear it a few more times in other renditions later on as well. I'm curious if any of you noticed this new theme though as the episode went on. It's always in the lows, so it's actually really hard to hear, and personally I didn't catch it until I put my better headphones on. So let me know if you were able to pick it out, because Abels is clearly trying to hide this for now in plain sight. May's theme plays as she finds Pip, now becoming something more than just a theme for the twin sister. The sound of horror music like Bartok Pizzicatos and Colegmo Botados enter again as Osha sees the first victim. As she watches the other extras being handled by the Master, the music is full of horn rips and short attacks in the trumpets, reminiscent once more of the way that Williams might have scored this scene. And feel free to disagree with me, but this choreography was fantastic. These are Jedi of the High Republic, and this guy is just tearing through them. Naturally, the setting of a dark woods doesn't allow for much of the aerobatic types of moves that we saw in the prequel battles, but at least to my eye, these moves are well coordinated and very convincing. Throughout the battle, a new theme seems to emerge with an ascending fifth before twisting in half step. As Yord comes to the rescue, the music pauses its tension as the two sabers hold on to each other. As they release, the music re-engages as well. But as the Master pulls a second Jedi into his blade, creating the now infamous Sith Kebab, that motif similar to the opening and when he first arrived returns again. It's never the exact same intervals, but this gesture is clearly tied to this agent of chaos and destruction. Something similar occurs once more as Osha shoots him with the stun gun, proving to be useless. As she runs from the Master, Abels again employs the extended percussive techniques on the string instruments, summoning the horror and fear of Osha in this moment. But as Soul steps in, the music changes as the trumpets rise by a fifth before stepping down. The Master's music enters again, this time sounding just like before and solidifying the shape and contour more fully. Abels has done an incredible job of slowly revealing this theme to us while shrouding it in mystery, just as this Dark Master is still shrouded in so much mystery at this point in the episode. But it was this head nod that actually gave it away for me. And yeah, if you're this far into this video, you already know it's Keemer. But notice how he turns his head the same way that he does before in the shop with Osha. This was the moment I knew for sure that this was going to be Keemer. And I have to say, Manny Jacinto does an incredible job so far with this complex role. From quirky and unthreatening to powerful and horrifying in the blink of an eye.
You need rest.
As we move into the title card, the choir builds, and as they sing the Acolyte theme, we knew this was going to continue to be a dark episode. What a great musical shift by Abels for this episode. As Kiemer and Soul talk, the eerie music builds slowly until Kiemer activates his lightsaber, also reigniting the music. It shifts to a different energetic feel as May and Jackie fight without weapons. I love how Abels has seemingly split the fight music into these categories. One, where the lightsabers are not used, where he relies more heavily on drums and other sounds that feel more primitive to us. And then one where lightsabers are used, full of brass and woodwinds and the classic John Williams sound. There's a clear respect in the music for a Jedi igniting their lightsaber and what that means to them and the world around them. Notice how the horns are reintroduced just as Soul and Kiemer continue to battle, for example. This exchange between Kiemer and Soul clearly has layers to it as well. What do you make of Kiemer not wanting to remove his mask for fear of having his thoughts read?
Show your face.
And let you read my thoughts. No.
And again, as we transition back to May and Jackie, the drums take up the foreground. As Soul is kicked back, one of the few brief moments of silence comes in here as Soul finds himself alone for the moment. The silence creates its own haunting feeling. And another telling line occurs as Yord and Osha discuss Kiemer. Osha says that he can get into your head like her mother could. And I think there's still a big reveal down the road about Kiemer and somehow his connection to the Coven and May and Osha's past. What do you all think, though?
My mother could do that. Get inside a Jedi's head. I saw it once.
As Kiemer comes for Jackie, haunting sound effects overtake the music momentarily. The battle returns, now with brass, as Jackie ignites her lightsaber. As hers goes out though and she ignites Kalnaka's, Abels brings in a short horn motif that Williams used during Battle of the Heroes as well. It was a wonderful and subtle nod to the great composer and the greatest lightsaber duel ever, according to my childhood nostalgia. As Yord and Osha run into the bug nest, Abels uses low drones, and while this is haunting music and sounds, it's clearly not the real danger of this episode. And so, Abels lessens the fear of the music by scoring the woodwinds and especially the clarinet to help relax the tension. We're going to see and hear this again later in the episode as well, and it's quickly becoming a characteristic trait of his music. When you hear clarinet, everything is going to be okay, though I'm curious if he'll use this to deceive us later in the show. And I love this little moment as Osha senses May's fear and danger and says, "We have to go back," just like Leia does in Empire Strikes Back. I have to imagine that this was an intentional connection that they were trying to make.
Leia.
To go back.
Abels continues to incorporate the Williams-esque brass attacks as the lightsaber battle rages on, but as Jackie is stabbed 3 times by a really cool secondary blade, the music pauses, and that's when Kiemer is finally revealed with the glissando harp and choir. I could see Williams doing something identical here, except I was surprised to not hear his theme finally ring out in the horn or trumpet, full of rage in this moment. And it's in the aftermath of that reveal that Abels finally releases the music for the first time fully in this episode, 15 minutes in as Kiemer finally feels like talking and we hear silence. Now, I find it interesting how Kiemer phrases this. A Jedi like you might call me Sith. See, I don't think Kiemer is actually Sith. I can't explain it or defend it, but I think he's a copycat wannabe Sith.
But a Jedi like you might call me Sith.
That's why he says they would call him that, but never actually says he is Sith. And I think he has a close connection to the Coven, and that's really what he meant when he asked Soul if he remembers him. But I'd love to hear all of your thoughts on this theory as well.
I have no name. But a Jedi like you might call me Sith.
His theme comes in again as he says he wants freedom while knocking May to the ground. It returns a couple more times and attempts to fully engage as Yord attacks him from behind. And wow, this was so quick, so gruesome, so unexpected. Just minutes after he killed Jecki, this episode just got so freaking dark. This is what it needed to be, but this was intense. Yord falls to the ground lifeless as Kimmer demonstrates how easy it is for him to kill a Jedi without a weapon. Motifs from May's theme play as Osha finally stuns her. And now Sol and Kimmer summon the drums as they continue to battle with fists instead of lightsabers. Sol gets the upper hand, knocking Kimmer to the ground. As he ignites his lightsaber, the strings reignite as well. And this could have been it. Sol could have pulled an Anakin and ended it here. But Osha stops him and at the same time stops the music, so we just hear the hum of his saber. As the bugs swarm, the high strings create the illusion of a swarm as well. Over top, a single dissonant chord in the brass strikes incessantly over and over again as Kimmer is carried away. As Sol is stunned, Abels brings the clarinet in again to reassure us that the danger is passing. It offers the sisters a chance to reconcile the same way it did in episode 3, again de-escalating the tension. But it turns out there's too much tension here to fully move past. As the two sisters embrace, Abels does a great job of blending their two themes, short moments from each, into this track. Osha's rising fifth blends into May's chromatic twists, but as Osha can't go down this path, May easily takes her down though, returning her theme to strength. May's theme plays again in the flute as she pretends to be Osha, following Sol back to the ship. But I wonder if Sol actually believes that this is Osha. My guess is that he knows his former Padawan well enough to know she's not acting like Osha. Basil clearly knows better with his little sniffer, so maybe he'll have to be the one to break it to Sol, even though Sol can't really understand him. But Kimmer also doesn't seem fooled. If he thought this was May, he'd just kill her. His theme enters again as he walks across what now is a graveyard of Jedi. Abels uses the horn playing Kylo Ren, May's theme, to suggest that this could somehow be May to Kimmer.
We are.
I don't entirely understand what Kimmer means by his line, but I am so curious to see where this goes next. But I absolutely would love to know what all of you think. What did you think of this episode? Do you think Kimmer and Sol know that Osha and May have changed places? Do you think Solo will have the chance to contact the Jedi on Coruscant? Will Ki-Adi-Mundi find out about the Sith identity, adding more confusion to his line in Phantom Menace? Or is something going to prevent this information from making it that far for now? What do you think about Kimmer's past as well, and do you think he might have a direct connection to the Coven and May and Osha's past as well? Tell me in the comments below what you think, and consider checking out my Patreon page using the link in the description, where you can help support this channel for as little as $1 a month, or download PDFs and MP3s of projects as I complete them, along with other perks at higher tiers. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to learn more about the music of a galaxy far, far away, and as always, may the be with you.